All right, welcome everyone. Resemblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Monogatari, Often Monster, Episode 3. Okay, there's a bunch of extra Nadekos. Cool.
Yeah.
And this one, the first one that you went after, led you to school. I wonder if there's any relevance or importance there beyond the surface.
Yeah. Nadeko having to go back to school after it's been one of the areas that she's been most scared to return to, not just because it's the place of, where
her
social anxiety and among other things kind of led to
a rather memorable event that
yes.
she would rather people didn't remember.
Right, but it's also the place where just people in general are that are going to remember that stuff. And if you're going to sit in your room constantly just being a mangaka, well, you probably won't be a successful mangaka because you have to at some point have to...
You got to have some real life experience to draw from.
Or have some human interactions, from then on out.
Because while, the idea of going after your whole mangaka thing, whole hog, that's fantastic, that's great and all, but are you also maybe running away from something? Or some things? Given
that you're so good at it,
Yeah.
Yeah. Very fun to have this also happen just with Ogi. Just being the
Along
escort,
for the ride.
Escort for the whole thing. It's like, yes, this is wonderful. Aragi's not helping, here at all. No. Aragi's isn't even in this arc of season. What are you talking about?
But as far as characters that might know something about, not facing sides of yourself, I think Ogi might,
Yeah, spoilers. No way of knowing how Ogi knows this,
Right, if you're watching this without having seen the rest of Monogatari for some reason. Yeah.
But yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Yeah.
It is cold outside, isn't it?
Funny
how that works.
Chase her here, too.
なんだったら僕が代わりに中に入ってきてあげようか
I'm very good at going in other people's places.
Right.
お供くらいはさせてもらうよ
Sure.
不安しかありませんが
じゃあレッツゴ
All right.
Let's go!
その後に待ち受けていたのはなんとも意外な展開でしたまずコーナーに逃げ込んだナデコは1番目の大人デコではなく2番目の小
Oh, flirty!
Oh,
what?
Okay.
着替えたようです学校の制服を入手する方法なんて
Limited number of ways, yes.
さあ意外な展開の2つ
That's funny, though, the idea of the flirty one masquerading as the meek one.
普通に考えたら学校に来た彼女は
Right, where would she go?
そのまま自分のクラスに行きますよね
That would make sense.
1年前の戦国ナデコってわけじゃないんだからさ
Absolutely.
確かにあくまでもあれらは今年の私が今日描いた絵なんですよね
But that would mean they were drawn out of yourself to an extent.
自身であるはずなのです、他に当てがあるわけでもないので3年生の教室に参りましょう
Right. The second year one disbanded because it's been a year, so that class doesn't exist,
Would that mean that these characters would also be her own perspective on that side of herself?
へえ感心しちゃう
Popular.
やだそれかわいいいけてるいけて
And quite a bit different than the flirty Nadeko that we saw in the show.
どっかで聞いたことあるかもそれどこで見つけたのそういうの昔から好きなの
Whoa.
She's really confident.
She's doing this, yeah.
じゃあ約束
今が幸せだったらわざわざ夢なんて追ってない
Oh. Ooh.
I like it.
夢も希望もある夢を叶えて目標を達成して出世して得
Yeah.
たこと満たされることが目的だっていう
That's a whole philosophical discussion to get into there.
いても結局同じなんじゃないかってわけだ
Being happy.
もっともあれはあれで切な
Yeah.
将来というのはつまり今の君のことだ戦国ちゃん彼女には君の姿が欠けている
Right, she's just a fragment, yeah.
Right, because she doesn't have those anxieties and fears.
だから戦国ちゃん君はさっさとあの式紙の始末をつけてしまう
Yeah, you were never purely flirty. You were also meek and wrathful and all of those things.
あくまでも紙は紙だからねその中でもお前にもできるやり方を教えておくよスケッチブックの白紙のページを切り取って持っていくんだそれを式紙た
And slap!
Okay.
あれ人の壁を作ってるようなものじゃないですかまさか意図的
Yeah, how could you possibly get through all those people?
偽物だよほんま
we've had that conversation before.
Yep, that's not gonna work. You have to crest through the people.
Because while it is a fake, it is also a real part of you.
なんだかな。これはもういっそのこと、私が消えた方がいいんじゃないのかな。
Oh, nope. Chop, chop.
みんなあんな楽しそうで、なでこ自身もあんな楽しそうなら、それでもいいじゃないかなって。
Yeah, it'd be okay if I lied about who I was and gave just
Right.
that.
If I forgot about my dreams and everything and just wasted away.
Uh-huh.
恥ずかしい。
Nice!
Okay.
No, don't get distracted here. So cool.
Dramatic exit.
Yep. So bad.
小びなでこと対面した時に抱いてしまったあの劣等感こそが
Yeah, you wish you could be her.
Yeah.
恥ずかしい。小びなでこの最後の言葉。私はそれを
Right, but mostly just because you had the momentum of the decision.
がしでかしたこととはいえ、やっぱり荷が重いですね。
Interesting. So even after she does the bold thing, she doesn't really give herself credit for it.
Yeah.
え701中学校で騒動
Yeah, there was something.
おお戦国ちゃんか、
Hey!
久しぶり。
Good to see you again.
元気でやっているのかな。
I'm not dead.
That is good to know.
That's true.
もうおかけしています。でも活動しています。存在しています。
When the introvert comes out of their hidey hole.
Right.
新裸のブルマ姿で徘徊している前髪の長い女子中学生の姿を見たっていう。
Well, that's terrifying.
Oh my god.
やめてください、大人でこさん。あなたには将来、かっこ私がに喜びを感じずにはいられませんが、いえいえ、これは仕方のない。
Yes, in the game of life, which way are we going?
僕が大学ノートを提供するからそこに戦国ちゃんが戦国ちゃんを100人くらい書いてローラー作戦でルマナデコちゃんを探すというのは
But then that's more.
Yeah, probably a bad
More
idea to do
clothes,
that,
yeah.
right?
じゃあこの BMX は君に貸してあげるよ
There you go.
Yeah.
僕は僕で別に足を調達するよ
I'm sure you'll manage.
Yeah, Ogi just transpositions themselves wherever they need to be.
Exactly.
聞いた他の目撃者情報を追いましょう。よかった。
Oh.
なでこちゃん、
Oh.
ちゃんと見つ
Is that Sodachi? Yeah.
Oh.
Whoa.
Okay.
It's just the hair color I went by, but wow,
Yeah.
very different style.
Yeah, who?
なでこちゃん、ちゃんと声を上げなきゃダメよ。
Well, okay, deflects, not talking about that.
なんだかうまくなじめない大学をサボって、ここで読書に勤しんでいたの。
A lot of important conversations happen here.
ああ、戦場ヶ原さんって言っても、なでこちゃんは知らないか。知ってます。ほぼ殺し合いになりました。神なでこ時代ですね。
Yeah, you don't know how there's the crab, nice.
それよりヘアスタイルといえば、なでこちゃんこそじゃない。半裸状態から服を着たはいいけど、
Yes, perfect. Yes.
その頭一体どうしたの？そうでした。今なでこは自分では見えないくらいのベリ
I can't see it. Yes.
なでこは前髪娘です。つまりこの一瞬で私は着衣をして
But you also got a haircut. Yeah.
そんな虎狩りにされて
They.
泣き寝入りだけは絶対ダメ。大丈夫。いじめられてないです。そうなの？
Gotcha. Someone went and took off her clothes and cut her hair. Yep.
そうなんだ。あれ好きでやっ
Well, no, not that.
まあ人に
Everyone can have a hobby.
なでこちゃんなんだか変わったわね。
Okay, yes, I have, but don't go reading into it too much.
学生だった頃の話とかされたくないと思うけれど、昔のなでこちゃんって
Right. Yeah.
それが何があったのか知らないけれど、そこまで自分をさらけ出せるようになったのは
Right. Yeah. You know? Yeah, childhood can be rough, can't it?
イメージチェンジできなかったな。
Although you very literally did.
Right, but I think it's the image of who they are to themselves also.
何もしていないのと同じよね。
Is it though?
Yeah, because then that means the journey doesn't matter.
ここであったのも何かの縁だから、この私が保証してあげるわ。学校に行けなくなったくらいでは、人生は
Right. Yeah, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
そうなんだ。どうしたらいいのかわからなくなって、その結果露出行為に自戒を込めて言うわ、なでこちゃん。私は大体の場合、誰のどんな意見でも本気で
Yes, you were quite the middle schooler.
自分のことを棚に上げてアドバイスさせてもらうと、その厳しい意見が親のすべてだと思わないことも、
Wow.
言ってしまったことを今は密かに後悔しているかも。
Sure.
Yeah, but they felt that's what they had to do.
思い通りになっていないと考えているとしたら、そんな悲しい関係はないものね。
Right. That's why you gotta be honest with yourself and others.
生きてさえいれば大人にくらいはなれるから。
Yeah, that doesn't sound so bad, does it?
安心しなさい。
It's gonna be okay.
今日は一日サボるつもりだったけれど、なでこちゃんと話してちょっぴりやる気をもらったわ。
Yeah, helping someone else with their stuff like can end up giving you that like power as well. Like
私も育ちお姉ちゃんにとって何らかの刺激になれたというならよかったです。
you
So
didn't
what
have
you
to
gonna
do
do?
anything.
私に頼ってくれれば、その時はそいつらに本当の痛みを教えてあげる。
I'll let loose my terrifying side.
ただぼんやりと半裸でうろうろしているのが第一の解釈だとすれば、第二の解釈は
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, she's just perpetually running away.
そこ以外の場所を半裸で徘徊しているかのように見えるという解釈です。
And gosh, I wonder what that place that she's avoiding would be.
その図形の中心地を求めたりすれば、その座標にはひょっとして
Maybe the same place as that mutual acquaintance you don't want to talk
Uh-huh,
about.
yep, yep. Cool. I feel so right that then Ogie's been the one helping her and stuff through this.
I would love to be in the room where the people are designing like and brainstorming what to do for the Monogatari OPs and EDs.
Oh, sure. I love the
Okay.
whimsy of Monogatari and how we'll get into these like very lackadaisical conversations about like really deep philosophical stuff.
Well, at the same time, having enough layers of indirection to not like
Just
have
flat
it be
out
too
say
heavy.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and right
Because the characters are exploring it too, you know?
because the characters are exploring it too, but then also there are some things that are so important to you that you can't ever really say them out loud, right?
Or you don't ever say them literally out loud.
yeah,
You get at them from many
Right.
different angles. And in a lot of ways, that's
Yep.
just the human experience, is that you're never
Right.
going to attain truth and nirvana and you know,
Yeah.
alignment with everything. You're going
life's
to
a
get...
process of getting closer to
Yeah,
that.
you're going to get a reflection of it. You're going to get a fragment of it. You're going to get
A fake,
piece.
if you will.
A fake, yeah,
And if
exactly.
If that fake's working really hard to try and be indistinguishable from the real thing, one might even say it's more valuable.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, it's more valuable because it's yours. You actually
Right.
put it together so that you can get closer to the thing that's truly you.
Right.
And yeah, part of life is acknowledging that you're going to have those little elements of dissatisfaction or imperfection that are going to stir you to strive more in a specific direction.
And that fear then where you can be like, oh, I don't know if I actually want to be happy because if I'm happy, then, you know, I basically won't have a fire
I
under
won't
my
want
ass.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I feel that. Like, that's something that, I don't know if that's something that everyone struggles with to this kind of degree,
No,
but I feel like
it's
that is
very different for different people.
for different people.
Yeah.
But that is absolutely something that has been a big struggle for me in my life. Like because the thing is you get into this conflation where you're like, you know, if I'm happy, that means I don't have any intentionality, right? Like that you know, because I am not compelled to do something, I will then not try to do something, right? You know, that you can only ever strive if it comes from a place of dissatisfaction, which is pretty unhealthy if you think about it.
Well, yeah, but that's the trick that everyone that gets into the trap of striving basically comes down to, is that they then say, but the ends justify the means, because what
Right.
I get on the other side of striving is the thing that will give me contentment.
Right. Which is then just saying, no,
Which is
you're
basically saying you threw away contentment so that you could go work hard to have contentment. Human beings go to work to make things complicated.
yeah.
And I'm not saying this
Yep.
like I know all this stuff through my experience or what have you, but to me it's something that it just feels so simple when you talk about it mechanically.
Yeah.
In that we as human beings desire happiness. We do. We all do. The thing is that we start to codify happiness through a reflection of what we think other happy people look like.
Sure.
And then we craft a vision out of that into a dream that then we can attain, and then we start working towards that.
Yeah.
And your life is gone, and you spent your whole life chasing after a dream, which can be great because you could be happy along the way that you chase after that.
And that's why being honest with yourself is so important, because if happiness for you is in that striving, right? Where it's I love to do stuff and that makes me feel good, you know, and everything. Then fantastic, more power to you. But the thing is that a lot of the times, because we're not actually thinking about what we really want, we're thinking about what we think we should want, right?
That's another that's another specific thing.
Whether
There's
it's because we're
ways
being told by society, or told by ourselves, or whatever, or we're not properly acknowledging our own weaknesses. There are some sides of ourselves that we would just like to choose to ignore, kind of like Nadeko getting rid of the different aspects of herself in Shikigami, where it's and then when she sees flirty Nadeko, it's dazzling. Because that's just your flirty side, but that's not real. It is you, but that's also not real, because you is all of you, right? And so it's really easy to take that, that one distilled element of yourself and be like, oh, if I could be just this, man, that'd be incredible.
It's the same fallacy where we have someone that doesn't like an encounter of they had a negative experience with an encounter with us because they didn't like the way we acted in yada yada way.
Sure.
And then we go, oh, they hate me.
Right.
By extension of that tiny part of myself isn't me. That's just oh my goodness, it's so good. But having Nadeko be the character that explores this, the one who's probably the most likely to
the most
hold
insecure.
herself back.
Yeah.
Yes, the most insecure. I there are other very insecure characters in Monogatari, but yes, Nadeko is probably the one that is prone to inaction via insecurity, I would say.
That was something that I absolutely just pulled out of a hat, but it felt right. The other characters have their own issues for sure.
Hanakawa was extremely insecure, in her own way.
Well, I mean, sure, kinda.
Yeah.
But and so now, but one of the things that I really like about this is that the idea of this being Nadeko's struggle as she's, thinking about the idea of growing up and all that stuff and how scary that is and how she doesn't want to do it. That is something that's emotionally engaging, as an audience member watching it, right? But you don't have to be in Nadeko's specific situation or just remember what it was like to be in that situation in order for it to resonate with you, right? Because there's always going to be parts of us that are running away from the things that are uncomfortable, that don't want to face certain aspects of ourselves, right? That would like to believe that because we have grown up, we've now fixed that, we have resolved that problem, we got whatever, report card grade we got on it that we did, and now that's done, and we never have to go back to that, and and that's just we just lock that in a drawer somewhere and don't think about it anymore.
Dump in the ocean.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, but that's not how it works. It's an ongoing process, and that's where you can take heart in that, Nadeko, because everyone has to deal with this to some degree, right? And the fact that you have to deal with this, that's not. That doesn't make you special or abnormal or weird or whatever. The fact that your parents, are concerned, and have these responses that they have, that doesn't mean that this is the end of the world, right? If you decide not to go to school.
Right. One of the things that in coming of age stories they use a lot is ways to codify actually who the person is. And in a lot of ways it's localized down to some activity or thing that they're proficient in or what have you. In this case, Nadeko's thing is being a mangaka. She really wants to have her art be the focus point for her life.
Yep.
And thus, in doing so, she channeled all of her powers, basically, and found the most helpful aspects of herself in her manga and split them out. And individually, none of them want to write manga.
No.
But it's fascinating that Nadeko all those pieces together wanted to write mangaka. But if you take them all apart and you disassemble yourself and you do go through a whole deconstruction period of like, wait, who am I actually? You go down to your barest components here. Yeah. Like, maybe you do need to reevaluate some of the things that you think make you happy.
Sure, yeah, because, I mean, if you distill yourself down to one-dimensional cutouts, they will, in fact, be quite confident. Yes. Because there's nothing else to get them confused or emotionally tortured or conflicted or anything like that, right? But, you know, human heart in conflict with itself is the only thing worth writing about. So, you know, like that's where you are. And so you gotta figure out how those things shake out.
Yeah, and I'm excited for her to encounter all the other versions of herself, because the way in which she could be insecure by looking at them and going, wow, they're so dazzling, and I'm jealous. You could also flip that into a situation where it becomes a practice of self-love, of like, oh, actually, I really like that part of myself. I really like the part of myself that stood up to all my classmates and told them off.
It may be.
I really like the part of myself that chased after what I wanted with the gusto and fervor and passion, you know, with my flirty side of things here. I liked the part of me that also was like the ruthless, competitive, tear out
the throats of my competition.
Yeah, exactly.
There's consequences that I'm now needing to deal with as a result of those sides of myself, and the consequences aren't necessarily very pleasant or convenient. No. But, you know, that's a part of life.
Yeah. And then having these other characters, like Kambaru and Oikura, kind of chime in and be like, hey, I'm, you know, here to help and here to encourage you and stuff. You don't need to apologize for yourself here. This is just something you're going through. Them each having gone through their own kind of very different experiences here. But in a lot of ways, these are all the characters that when they were in the story were the younger crew, you know? And now they're all grown up. So they're on the other side of the same experience in a lot of ways that Nadeko had gone through.
Right.
And I really like that, especially with Oikura or Sodachi.
Yeah, that was very on the nose with them talking about how, like, yeah, but I couldn't change, you know, I couldn't change my appearance, you know, and all that stuff. Well, it's like, wait, you literally look different than how we saw you last.
Right. And that's not, you know, what she's referring to, but it's fun to see somebody who still has that part of her, like she mentioned, that could get scary if she wanted to help a friend with the you need me to, you know, cut a bitch, I got you.
Right, I'll do it. Yeah,
I'll do it. But I've reconciled that that's just a part of me. That is not all of me. That is not something I have to reject in order to master.
Well, and just because you see similarities to yourself or a past version of yourself does not mean you haven't grown. And so to say that your appearance hasn't changed, or that if you did this and you come back to the same place, there's no purpose to it. No. That's way too reductive. That's not how that happens. You need to give yourself some credit, because you are changing and you are growing whether you want to or not. And that's probably one of the big things that that makes your parents concerned, right? Because they want to make sure that you're changing in a way that you are actively choosing, rather than just, you know, more passively choosing because the circumstances that you're in frighten you.
Yeah. I loved the way also that Oikura kind of called out the legalistic kind of adherence to the very specific words that the parents are saying without necessarily hearing the heart of what they're trying to get at here. Because people are not perfect communicators. And just because they're saying words of like, you need to do this now, the reason for it might be out of some kind of anxiety for your future, what have you. But the idea that it's going to be okay. Like, even if you have anxiety about the future, you just keep living, you're going to at least become an adult. Like, I loved the, like, comedy of that almost, where it's like...
Inherently, you win in the growing up side of things.
Right, you are going to grow up no matter what.
Right.
But it's the element of there's less fear, I would say, about the qualitative aspects of that. You've got other people around you that are trying to help you grow up. Oikura right there is one of them,
Right,
in that
and-
regard.
and
your
that's-
parents are there too, trying to help you with that.
And that's why you did give her that extra bit of motivation, even though you don't think about how you possibly would have been doing that, because, oh, hey, maybe she sees some of herself in you. Maybe, you know, she looks at you and she's like, oh, yeah, that's right. I remember when I was in more of a situation, you know, similar to yours. And you know what? Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, you know what? I can go back and I can go to at least the second half of the day of school.
Right.
Sure.
I also love the idea that Oikura felt emboldened to go to the afternoon lectures because she helped Nadeko process through this stuff. It's very Iroh kind of coding
Yeah.
of like sometimes the best way to solve your own problems is to help someone else with theirs. And in a lot of ways, the area that you have the most potential to help people in is an area that you've struggled with because you understand it in an innate, emotional, like deep way.
Yeah, it's more than just, you know, trying to put yourself in their shoes. It's yeah, there's similarity there. It's not you're not just empathizing.
Right.
Yeah.
I also love the hint being that, our mutual acquaintance that,
Neither of
frames
us
a little
will
bit
talk
of our
about.
connections with people there that we are both avoiding bringing up,
Yep.
gives you a hint as to, wait, if that's the case of where meek Nadeko is avoiding, because, we remember in a lot of ways a lot of the issues with Nadeko and Araragi being what they were, why this side of Nadeko would not want to encounter Araragi now.
Yep. And maybe that'll give you some sense of where to go next.
Yeah, but I'm excited. Do we get our boy back next episode?
I think we
then?
might.
Or are we gonna have more Ogi and more indirection and more like?
Well, I think
we'll have him be there off camera, like just out of frame, and like.
right. I think we will
hear a voice distorted and stuff. You know?
Right. I think we will actually get Araragi because, and my understanding of this could totally be off because it's been a long time since we watched the original, like the old previous stuff in the series, but. I think Ogi is a whole separate person at this point.
Well, yes. After everything that happened, Oshino Meme, I think that's right? Yeah, Meme? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He basically helped Ogi completely separate and become their own person.
Right, because Ogi already was a person, but they were also an aberration.
Of Araragi.
Right, yeah.
But now they're his cousin, basically, or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Very old and closely tied friend,
Right. Yeah. The fake became real in that regard. So now there's some fun details with that.
One of the other things that I just want to say that I appreciate about the structure that they're doing these episodes in, because if you go to the previous one, we got introduced to the whole concept of the plot for the arc and all that, right? And then we had the cliffhanger of, all right, and now Nadeko's going to deal with one of the versions of herself, right? But this feels like such a fun potential pattern of then in the beginning of the episode, we get all the excitement of her dealing with a version of herself. And then we get the aftermath of that and the then building up to go to the next one so that we always kind of have like that fun cliffhanger, but are also ending each episode on Nadeko making that next like push forward, and it's more about the decision rather than a result.
Yeah, we have a nice ramp of rising tension, falling tension, to back to rising tension again towards the end, which is really fun. Rather than having the confrontation be at the very end of the episode.
Exactly, and then we were sort of starting over from okay, now let's figure out the situation for the next one. Yeah.
But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You got an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel, see if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.